Some upcoming space games are doing something that, honestly, we don't see enough of anymore. These new games are being designed from the bridge outward, not from the cockpit, not from the ground, but from the actual ship itself. And this is different because these are capital ships, the big ones, the ships with a crew and systems and the feeling that you're responsible for the entire thing. So, if you've ever wanted that captain fantasy where you're making the calls, juggling the priorities, keeping the ship together, then here is very good news indeed. I've been keeping an eye on a handful of announced upcoming space games that are leaning very heavily into this. And a surprising number of them are doing it properly, in the ways that people have been hoping for years. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 games that focus on all of this, and perhaps more importantly, I'll explain why these games look appealing, because there's actually a massive difference between a game that has a big ship in it and a game where commanding that ship is the entire point. Also, whilst I've got you here, if you wouldn't mind, please do subscribe. It really does help these kind of videos get out to the people who actually care about them. Right, the games in question are Starship Command Orion Spur, Capital Command NTL No Time Left, the Flagship, and Starship Simulator. They're all very different, but they each put a very different specific focus on what it actually feels like to command something larger than the usual crop of spaceships. So, Starship Command Orion Spur is one of those projects where the pitch immediately tells you what it is. It's basically telling you that you're on the bridge, this is a capital ship, and go run the thing. In the game, you give dynamic orders to your bridge officers who are managing the powers and weapons and shields of the engines and allied units as well. You can also switch to direct control of your ship to pilot and fight. You do have the option there. And between engagements, you can interact with the crew, making narrative choices as well that affect outcomes as well as morale. The ship creates all the pressure, the ship creates all the drama of the game, and with Orion Spur, everything is showing that type of gameplay. Not in the sense that you have with Elite Dangerous, but maybe in the sense of Captain Picard on the Starship Enterprise, and that really is the core of this whole video. The idea of sitting in the ship and being the captain in the command seat, not a pilot in the cockpit. In other words, it's a matter of value of where you place your priorities. And this is also a part of today's sponsor, because extra wallets also make you consider what you prioritize when it comes to your daily carry. Here's a word from them. A new year is a good time to rethink your everyday carry. Now, I've been using Extra's Wallet Pro. It's a slim Italian leather smart wallet with RFID protection and a trigger that fans out up to 14 cards with just a single press. It's built around recycled aluminium and backed by a lifetime warranty. And if you prefer something tougher, Extra also has a metal card holder with the same quick access design and support for tracker cards, which allow you to find your wallet in the event you lose it. And for travel, Extra have a carry-on sized traveller bag. This can be compressed using the USB-C rechargeable unit available separately, allowing you to easily travel with all your favourite clothes. The perfect accessory then for your trips. Extra's New Year's sale runs until the 28th of January with up to 48% off, and when you use my code, you'll unlock an additional 20% discount, bringing the total savings up to 68%. This is time-limited bonus available through YouTuber codes only during January. Check the link in the description for everything you need to know. Which brings us quite nicely onto a Capital Command, where you're in effectively a space combat simulator. You've got a massive capital ship here, you're fighting against overwhelming threats, and you're in a sandbox, a campaign. Now here, you issue real-time orders to navigators, gunners, engineers, and repair teams, whilst at the same time managing a realistic 6 degrees of freedom movement and inertia in the vacuum of space. Now, battles emphasize tactical positioning, angle control, and weapon usage, from missile pods to point defense turrets, and all of this against enemies that can attack from all directions. You also handled repairs, used salvage resources to upgrade systems, and adapt to strategy as you pursue or evade foes across procedurally generated encounters. The whole idea then is keeping your ship together, holding the warship together, and it seems to me that the developers are aiming for the feeling we're winning, but we're only barely surviving. I think we see a lot of those moments in TV shows like Battlestar Galactica, and they can be really epic. Now, NTL, No Time Left, this is heavily inspired by Faster Than Light, and it's one of those games that leans very heavily into the idea that combat isn't just about firing, it's not just about shooting, It's also about everything else because you've got a load of other things going on as well, simply down to the fact that you're managing a massive ship. And if you've played games like FTL before, well, you'll know exactly what this means. It means that your ship is falling apart in layers. Perhaps something is overheating, something else could be offline. You're shunting the power around like crazy, and you're really trying to keep your weapons online, whilst also keeping the ship alive. So this is a roguelike. You're in command of the capital ship, obviously, and you're navigating through hostile encounters in a galaxy-spanning adventure. And what's more here, combat does use Newtonian physics and full 360-degree movements, so yeah, that should add to the whole thing. And sticking with the theme of the roguelike for a moment, there is another game very similar to this called the Flagship. And here, you outfit your ship with weapons and gear, and then tackle the procedurally varied combat and tactical challenges that you find yourself confronted with. And that means you are going to need to test your various different builds and decisions each run. Now, the developers say that gameplay blends real-time action with strategic choice, and you adapt to the various threats along the way. And yes, you're going to have to manage resources and try to survive longer each time. Now, what I'd like to think about in terms of this game, and I hope the developers are kind of going in this direction, is the whole idea of these large-scale ships, because ultimately a battleship is very different to a frigate, and with the ability to build so many different ships, I mean, maybe you could even go for a drone-focused ship as well, then you're going to have some different options here for your capital class ship. And then we come to the final game I want to talk about, and this one really is the ultimate fantasy of being the captain on board a starship. The game is Starship Simulator. Many of you may have heard about it before. Effectively, this is it really is the whole living ship version of the entire concept of being in command of a starship. Think here the idea of Star Trek meets a video game really, where you are your own captain and board your own massive starship. Now, this isn't about combat. Instead, what you've got here is a ship with decks, rooms, crew, routines, systems that really are quite physical because they literally have all their power cables and utilities and real ongoing maintenance that are required to keep them going. It's a sort of game where the ship isn't just a means of movement, because the ship itself is the entire game in many respects. And what's more, all of this is set in a true one-to-one scale copy of the Milky Way. What I like about Starship Simulator is that the ship isn't just an environment. There's something more going on here. It's basically a massive home, a mobile base that you're taking around with you. For me, it feels like the ultimate Star Trek fantasy, at least as far as the old 90s era Star Trek goes. And yeah, while this is clearly heavily inspired by Star Trek, it isn't Star Trek out and out. It's very much its own thing. Starship Simulator then is a game I'm going to be talking about quite a bit more on over the coming months, so do keep an eye out for all of that. All in all then, let me know what you think about this theme. Do capital ships sound like the type of thing that you want to be commanding? Do you like the idea of sitting on the bridge, or are you more of a cockpit pilot sitting in a fighter or smaller class ship with ultimate control, hands-on experience where you basically direct everything from your joystick? Let me know which type of space game you prefer in the comments section below. Also, my thanks again to Extra for sponsoring this video. Do check out the link there in the video description for everything you need to know. And meanwhile, please feel free to watch another video. There's plenty available.